everybody. Welcome to my Flosstube. I have no idea what number this is, so I'll have to look it up. My name is Amy. I'm Fiber Arts Amy here and on Instagram. I'm happy you're all here. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If you're new, thanks for checking me out. I've noticed like kind of a rapid uptick in some numbers lately. I'm not entirely sure why. So if you watch somebody who's mentioned me or something, let me know, because I'd like to thank them. I know that Lisa at Cross by Floss has mentioned me before. I know Stitch and Mommy has mentioned me, and I feel like I'm forgetting one. But thank you if you've mentioned me, and so people have found me. I'm going to do something a little bit different today, because I filmed a Flosstube not that long ago. Oh, my dog's coming. She might interrupt. She's so little. Well, there she is. I was going to say you might not be able to see her. I'm sitting on the floor, so that's why she's in my lap. Anyway, it was suggested that I maybe go through my Mirabilia stash of patterns. This is Kitschy Whip's fault. I'm going to blame her for so much stuff. If you don't follow her on Instagram, you should give her a peek. I'm trying to get her to do a Flosstube too. So I have a lot of Mirabilia charts, and it was suggested that I share my stash, and I was like, who wants to see me go through all of my Mirabilia charts and talk about all of them? What, just like ramble on about what I think about them and show all of them? And Kitschy Whips very correctly made the point that I would watch that in a heartbeat if somebody else was doing it. So yeah, sure, that's what I'm going to do. I have no idea how long this is going to take. So we'll just get into it. I'm trying to keep my dog from drinking my water. If this goes on for like a really long time, we might do like a part 1 and a part 2, or I might film it in sections. I'm not going to show what I've been working on today. I'm just going to go through my Mirabilia stash. I don't have like that much progress to show because I think I just filmed like last week or something. And I also didn't stitch a whole lot in the last week. I took my daughter and I went to our cabin for the weekend and met my mother-in-law there. Our cabin's like in between our house and my mother-in-law's house. So we met my mother-in-law there for the weekend and had like a girls' weekend. So I actually was like cleaning the cabin the whole time while my mother-in-law and daughter bonded. So anyway, I guess I'll jump in and start sharing the stash. So I'm sitting in what we call our library. This is the same room that I usually film in. I'm just in a different part of it. I apologize if you can hear the siren. My stitchy chair is over there. And mostly we have a lot of bookshelves in this room with actual books on them. But we have this one short bookshelf, which is where I keep a lot of Mirabilia charts. There's no doorknob in this house that doesn't have stuff hanging on it. I do have potty mouth, so that will slip out occasionally. I apologize. But I try to keep it PG. So I have project bags hanging, and I keep things in this closet. There's a lot of crafty stuff I can't show you. There's a lot of crafty stuff in this closet, including whips that are on big scroll frames. And mostly the project bags that are here I have some whips that I consider much more important. They're just way more important to me. Like I have my project bag here for Princess and the Dragon from Teresa Wensler. There's Damask Roses back here. I think this is the project bag for Moonflowers that I want to do I started doing for my daughter. There's a Chatelaine project bag hanging here. So, yeah, things that are like kind of the sorts of projects I really make sure my hands are clean before I start stitching them. So I have stitching stuff in all rooms of the house. But this is where I keep kind of like my master set of Mirabilias. Some of you have heard me say before that I'm not above buying 2 copies and sometimes 4 accidentally. Oh, and I'm not going to address the giveaway today. I'm still waiting to hear back from the person who won that. I might do a giveaway next time. So, what I keep here are like the original charts. So I try not to, I used to stitch off of like the full chart. I really like stitching off the full chart. I love it. I love the huge piece of paper. I will just fold it up however I need to like focus on an area. I hate stitching with like lots and lots of pages. Love having the huge charts. I know some people hate them. I love them. So I will either make a photocopy, which I've talked about before often, I feel like isn't worth the trouble for me. It doesn't work out well. So here recently, like since pandemic, I've taken I'll just buy 2 copies of the chart, and I keep one nice as like a collection, and I'll stitch from the other one. Sometimes I can't do that, like especially if it's a hard to find chart, because I started stitching around 2004, probably found Mirabilia, maybe late 2004, 2005. There were just a lot of charts I didn't get. At this point, I basically buy them all. But there's some I didn't get, so I had to find on secondary market. I'm not going to buy 2 copies of something for like a huge price. So those I'll photocopy and deal with a photocopy. But anyway, I'm not going to go through the Nora Corbett's today. If people like this video, maybe I'll go through like Nora Corbett's stash another day. You can see like the envelopes are a little bit different for the Nora Corbett named charts, and then these are all my Mirabilia charts. They are really squished in here, and I don't know how many of you store them on a shelf like this. They're a pain because things like catch on the openings in the envelopes. I love the packaging, but it is hard to get things in and out. So we'll see how I do. I might have to just take things out, and when we're done with the video, I'll work on putting everything back. I do not keep mine numerically. I keep them more by like subject. So like the queens are together. The fancy are like just ladies, you know, fancy ladies are together. The mermaids are together. Like there's a juvenile kind of area, like a librarian, which I think is awesome, by the way. It's just funny. I feel like a librarian with my Mirabilia charts. Like I have them categorized so I can find things. Now they do get a little bit out of order here and there. When new Mirabilias come in, I actually usually, there's a little room up here, I will just like sit them on here. And then after like some of them have kind of piled up, then I'll come down here and like stick them all, bring them all out and do kind of a stash dive and put them all in with their correct categories where they go. Hopefully they're in pretty good shape today. Some of the Nora Corbetts that like come like this, I also have down here on a lower shelf because they wouldn't fit on the shelf. This shelf is short. It's a good size for Mirabilias. So yeah, I'm just going to talk about Mirabilia for, I don't know, anywhere from 30 minutes to 6 hours. Don't know. I'm just going to go through all the charts. I do have almost all of them, and the only few that I don't have, I wouldn't stitch anyway. I'm like really certain they'd be last on my list. There's just a handful of them, and they'd have to be found on the secondary market at this point, and I just haven't felt like it's worth. Like I don't really care if my collection is entirely complete. I just, even if I don't get to stitch all of them, I love being able to look through them, and they're just give me a lot of joy. There's 2 that I have that are not here, and that is Lady of the Flag, and I always have a hard time, Queen of Freedom, I think is her name. The one, she's like a queen and she's got the flag over her lap. I just have really cruddy copies of those, so I don't have like a copy that I feel like is worth keeping here. If I ever come across one that isn't like hundreds of dollars, I'll pick it up, but right now I just have cruddy old used copies. Okay, while we're talking about Queen of Freedom and Lady of the Flag, the reason I don't have good copies of those is because okay, so if you don't want to hear my spiel about racism, basically, and patriotism, you can just fast forward a little bit until you see me like holding up Mirabilia charts. I may have mentioned this before. I did not think I would ever stitch either of those charts. They're beautiful, but I don't tend to stitch patriotic stuff. For me, patriotism's hard. What I mean by that isn't that I don't love our country, but I love what our country is supposed to stand for. And that's not the same thing for me as defending our country and our citizens' actions at all costs. For many of us, there's a lot in the history of our country, some of it very recent history of our country, that we are not proud of. And I, at least, am not proud of it, and I don't feel like it lives up to the ideals that our country was supposed to have been founded on. And I don't want to stitch something patriotic feeling like it's false. I feel like patriotism in some places has really come to mean defending everyone, like people's actions at all costs, instead of allowing for self-reflection. I really don't want to go on about this very long, if at all. I wish I didn't feel like I had to go on about it at all. When the insurrection on January 6th happened, that's when I decided I needed to stitch. I had already had a cruddy copy of one of them, and I decided I need to stitch these. It made me feel better to start stitching those two pieces. I started with Queen of Freedom. Part of the reason I'm bringing this up is because of, this is so awkward, I'm sorry. Part of the reason I'm bringing this up is because of those two Mirabilia charts that I have, but that are not, you're not going to see here today. But also, those of you who are on Instagram may have seen that there's been some concerning events in the needlework community here in the last few days. I should say today is February 23rd, Wednesday, February 23rd. And honestly, it's part of the reason why I'm doing this Flosstube today. I didn't feel up to stitching. I'm feeling bummed. So I'm not going to go into all the details. You can go look it up on Instagram if you want to find out more. But a designer was going to be selling a design that includes a Confederate flag and some Confederate flag like paraphernalia at market coming up here in a week or two. Enter the internet. And lots of people, I think, very eloquently explaining why that was hurtful and why it was wrong, and why it was harmful and divisive in our community. I actually really recommend, and this is part of why I'm bummed, because I spent last night, instead of stitching, I was reading some really, really thoughtful comments from people who I feel like are far more eloquent than me at explaining racism and how it makes people feel and why the Confederate flag is more than a little problematic to have on a cross-stitch chart. I don't want to try to explain it because I'm not good at that. I feel like I just end up resorting to like sputtering cuss words because I get so angry and upset, and there's a lot of people who have very eloquently explained it. So if you're interested or you don't understand the issue, I recommend you go look it up. But so this is a channel about cross stitch, right? We're here for stitching. But the way I feel about the world, the way I interact with other people, kindness is the thing that I think I value most in this world, the quality I value most in people. And, sorry if you can hear my dog barking. There are certain situations where I don't feel right for me not saying something. If I have this platform, even this relatively small platform of a YouTube channel, even if I had like 2 viewers, I don't feel like I've done the job I want to do or feel like I need to do if I don't say something about it. And I just want to say, after I've rambled for, I don't know, 5 minutes, that everyone is welcome on my channel. I was very disappointed to see the Confederate flag included in a chart. I know it's a symbol of hate. I'm not comfortable with it being part of cross stitch. And this is something I've really wrestled with over the last few years, because honestly, I have a hard time finding patriotic charts that I want to or I'm willing to stitch. There's been a lot of pieces that have come out, very popular pieces, and I'm not trying to knock anybody who stitched them, but there's been a lot of very popular cross-stitch pieces celebrating Independence Day. And I can tell you that at least in the last few years, because of my growth as a person, it makes my heart hurt. It really, I don't feel comfortable stitching a patriotic piece that talks about Independence Day without an acknowledgement on it, an explicit acknowledgement that it was not an Independence Day for everyone. Sorry, I keep saying I don't want to go into it, but I have a hard time not going into it. I feel like I have to say something about it. It's like the elephant in the room for me at the moment. If you want to learn more about the Confederate flag and why it's harmful and a symbol of hate, and why some of what even I was taught, and I grew up in upstate New York, was taught as a student in school about the Civil War was not accurate at all. I encourage you to go and learn more about it. But you are all welcome here, every single one of you. And I hope you'll join me. I'm going to stop talking about racism now. I hope you'll join me here for the next Lord knows how long while I go through Mirabilia. Okay, so let's get started if my dog will let me. Okay, so they're all facing that way. So I'm going to start at what would be like the bottom of the stack. And again, I'm just going to pull some out. I'm not going to go through the Nora Corbetts. My dog is being total pain. Okay, first one, Archangel. This is MD81. So this one I only got relatively recently. I think this is one I've seen crossed by Floss stitching. Do I have that right, or am I confusing them? Because she's also stitching a different angel. So I didn't get this one for a very long time, largely because I'm not Christian. I'm not really anything else either, but I'm not Christian. I'm not super likely to be stitching Christian like iconography, but it is beautiful, and I love the color she used on it. And as time has gone on, I've come to recognize, I guess, that I think I mentioned this before, like, I'll stitch, my God, my dog just wants to play. You know, if I can stitch other non-human creatures like dragons and fairies, then there's no reason I can't enjoy and stitch this as well. Now I don't know if I'm going to end up stitching this. I certainly didn't buy 2 copies of it. I just bought the one because I really don't know that I'll end up stitching it. But yeah, that's Archangel, and one of the few male figures. It's beautiful. I just don't know if I'm gonna stitch it. Now, Millennium Angel, I definitely bought because Lisa at Cross by Floss was stitching it, and it's beautiful. Okay, but I have to say, I mean, I kind of like this about it. I don't know that this angel has a gender. Let me see if this is MD27. I feel like I've heard her referred to as a she. I don't see, oh, it does say her, so I guess this is supposed to be a woman. She also looks very genderless to me, which I kind of like. I dig that. So I don't know, again, because, you know, Angel, I don't know that I'll end up stitching this one, but it is beautiful. And when I see Lisa doing it, it makes me want to start. I want to try to keep these in the order I have picked out. Okay, here's my unicorn. In case you guys didn't see, or if you haven't watched my other videos, this was my unicorn. And I got it. I managed to get it on eBay. I was having trouble because it's not that this comes up for like ridiculous prices. This just, I don't see it come up. And I didn't decide until relatively recently that I wanted to stitch it. And then of course I couldn't find it. The colors, it's just so beautiful. And I feel like it's a piece even just about motherhood and its beauty. And the color usage in it is just so incredibly stunning. It's MD79, Madonna of the Garden. Absolutely thrilled that I got this. I have the floss and everything kitted up except the fabric. I am kind of stymied by the fabric. I'm considering maybe stitching it on like a natural linen. I don't know. I'm just not sure, and I have enough other projects started, and I don't want to start this yet until I feel like I'm happy with my choice of fabric. So I'm letting that kind of percolate in the back of my brain for a little while. So this is Angel Proclamation, MD25, which I like, but I feel like something needs to be done about the fabric. I would probably do something different with the fabric. There's just a little too much white for me. But beautiful. I don't know if I'll ever get to it. We'll have to see. It is, I do have it kitted up though. I kitted up at Christmas. I was on like a big Christmas kick. This one I obviously got at a secondhand. I think obviously it's seen better days. The chart inside is fine though. This is Crystal Christmas MD28, which is an awful lot like Angel Proclamation, but it's got the Christmas tree inside. But very pretty. I don't know if I'll ever get to it, but very pretty. Angel of the New Dawn. I love this one. If I'm going to stitch an angel, this one would probably be it first. It's so pretty. I just love it. The flowers and the border. This is MD65. I love her dress, the way it drapes around her legs, and you can just see her foot coming out. I love the flower. It's beautiful. I absolutely love Angel of the New Dawn. See, this is going to be so hard. I already have, like 63 Mirabilia and Nora Corbett whips. Next time I film a Flosstube, it'll be like 82 or something. Because doing this is going to make me want to start all of them. Carrying Wings, I also love. It's just so pretty and very, doesn't have to be looked at in a religious way, which I appreciate. I just absolutely love Carrying Wings. This is MD73. Santa, I'm probably not going to stitch. I didn't even buy it initially. I like it, but not near. I'm not like a huge Christmassy Santa person. I think there's just too many other Christmas things I would stitch first. I'm not a huge seasonal stitcher. We don't really, we decorate for Christmas and Halloween some, but not really my stitching. Like if I've stitched something, it stays out year round. And I don't know, it's beautiful. It's MD 120. It's beautiful. I just don't know that I'll ever get to it. That was just called Santa. Santa's Magic. I know several people are working on right now. I know Kokahama Stitchery was working on it. I don't know if she still is. Julie, a Kansas City girl in a Colorado world, is working on it. I also have a whip. I'm actually doing it on like a navy blue fabric though, and I'm loving it, but I also haven't worked on it in like 8 years. I mean, I think I put like one skein in maybe last year, or one strand of floss in maybe last year. I also, so this is MD15. So one other thing I want to mention, because I have heard it a little bit, and I don't know if everybody is aware. So apparently, if I understand correctly. Krynic did not used to have a number 4 braid. So in the early charts, Mirabilia calls for a number 8 braid, which is a bear to try to get through a 28 count fabric and certainly a 32 count fabric. So my dog's over here disrupting things. I have a spinning wheel right here. The dog's like nose punching it. Anyway, if you see number 8 braid called for in a Mirabilia chart, it's my understanding that that's only because a number 4 was not available. And you should, like if Nora had a number 4 available, she would have used a number 4, I think. So I would feel, I certainly, that's what I did. I got number 4 braids to go with this. Winter White Santa. This is MD100, and it comes with, like this envelope's, it comes with, I believe, that charm right there. I don't know if it says on here. Yeah, the crystal charm. And it says cannot be purchased separately, has to be purchased as part of the chart. I have him as a whip. No, do I have him as a whip? I think I just have him kitted up. I might have him as a whip. I don't even, I'd have to look at my list. I do keep a list on my phone of all of the Mirabilias I've started. But I like him. I really like him. Something about him, and I think it's probably the like the blues and the sack and the grays. He's not what we usually see. He's a little out of the ordinary in some ways for a Santa. I love the staff he's carrying. I'd really like to do him. Christmas Wishes is MD61. This is beautiful. Also, in my experience, it's complete poppycock. How many of you have children who sat on Santa's lap without screaming, crying, and acting like there was an axe murderer trying to get at them, right? Like, this is not, in my experience, this is not how it goes with, like, mall Santa. Oh. Anyway, it's a beautiful design, though. I love it. I love the way the background is done. I don't know if I'll ever get to it, but it's kind of up there on my list. Christmas Flourishes is beautiful. I don't remember who. Somebody on Instagram stitching this right now and is looking beautiful. I don't know that I'll ever get to it. This is number 24, but I really, really like it. This is clearly the Christmas section. So we started with angels, and now we're in the Christmas section of my collection. Christmas in London, I have kitted up and waiting. This is MD 136. I love this. It makes me think of Downton Abbey, which I love. I think it's beautiful. I don't really feel any need to start it yet, though. I really wanted to kit it up and make sure I had all, it calls for a ton of beads and treasures. I wanted to make sure, I know you can sub things out, but I'm not always happy doing that. And I don't have an LNS near me where I can like go in and actually look at what treasures and beads and things look like in person. So I end up buying like way more than I actually need from an online store. It's kind of a pain. So I went ahead, and I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately. I'll just kit, if it's a one I know I'm going to want to stitch, I'll just kit it up when it comes out. So this is kitted up and waiting for me when I do feel up to starting it. Miss Christmas Eve, I also have kitted up. This is MD 148. So this happens sometimes. When she first came out, I was like, but she grew on me. And I think for me a lot is the fabric choice. If I put her on a different fabric, I'm going to be much happier with her. And there's some great finishes I've seen of this on Instagram. So that's Miss Christmas Eve. Christmas Elegance I have as a whip and love it. My dog's being a pain. Really love Christmas Elegance. She's MD number 6. I just think she's stunning, and I love all of that green in her dress. It's just beautiful. So she'll get finished one day. Okay, so that's my Christmas section. Now I think we're starting the like kid juvenile like nursery section. So she did, so Nora Corbett did this grouping, I think was called Little Stitches, because this is labeled LS-2. It's called Bedtime Friends and is adorable. I really like that. No intention of stitching it anytime soon. Might stitch it for grandchildren or something. I'm going to pause for just a minute because I cracked a window open because it was very warm in here, but now my toes are freezing. So I'm going to pause for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Carrying on. So this is LS-3. It's called Crescent Dreams. Also, I think beautiful. And you're not going to hear me say that I'm going to change colors to make it better for a girl or for a boy. We are a colors belong to everyone household. Yeah. I have no problem making something pink for a boy or blue for a girl. I'll change colors based on like what I think the parents' preferences are or what might go well in their nursery, but not based on the gender of the child. So that's Crescent Dreams. This is LS1. It's Newborn Joy. These are just so sweet. They're so beautiful. They're much more kind of me than a lot of the traditional birth samplers. I'm really glad she did this series to kind of give a different option. This one I absolutely love. This is LS5. It's called Rosebud Lullaby. Oh, it's just so pretty. The flowers trailing off. I just think it's gorgeous. That would be high on my list for like grandchild number 1, which I'm really far away from. My oldest child is 11. But yeah, this might be done. Just like if you watch my other videos, I'm doing a Mirabilia, one of these little stitches series for a birth sampler for my daughter to give to my mother-in-law. And I would do that with all of these, turn them into birth samplers. So this I put in my juvenile section instead of my angel section because there's those kids. This is called Guardian Angel, and I have this kitted up. I love these designs, that the way she does this where you've got like part of a background scene. I don't know why, I just love that. And the birds and the bunny. I like that a lot. Next stack. Giggles in the Snow. This one's one that I accidentally bought twice. I forgot, like I didn't record it when I bought it because I keep a record of those that I have. And I didn't record it when I bought it, so I accidentally bought it a second time. Y'all have done that, right? Maybe not with a Mirabilia, but I know I'm not the only one who does that sometimes. So there's Giggles in the Snow, and I love that she included both figures. I'd be more inclined to stitch this one for a lot of girls too. Not all girls like wearing dresses. This is LS4, Our Grandmother's Quilts. This one's like a little plain compared to some of the others, but it's still lovely. I should put that with the little stitches though. Okay. Gathering Eggs. This is MD49. Is a pretty spring design. I don't know that I'm ever going to get to stitching it. I certainly wouldn't stitch it on that fabric, but I do like it. It was a relatively recent purchase, I think. Okay, let's talk about Baby Boat. Settle in, because we need to talk about this design. I avoided getting this design for so long. I'm like scooting in so we can try to, I really want you to be able to see. If you have a second device, like you're watching me on your iPad and you also have a phone, Google it, okay? Google Mirabilia Baby Boat, do an image search. You need to take a good look at this picture if you haven't. Okay, I avoided taking this or getting this for so very long because of this figure right there. I can't get it to focus real well. Right there. for probably 15 years. More than that. This came out in 1995. It's MD16. I was like, that is a demon child. That child does not look like I was like, what is, how can anyone stitch that? Like, don't people see the demon child? Like, something's not right. Like, she looks like she belongs in a Stephen King movie with, like, I don't know, like, you may artificially age a child to make them look creepy or something. I don't know. It was not right. And then, one day I realized my foolishness. My eyes, I feel like this has to have happened to somebody else. So I was seeing, I need something to point with. I don't have anything good to point with. Let me see what I can do. This might work. It's a threading hook for my spinning wheel. Okay. So I was seeing, I don't know if you guys see this. I was seeing the eyes there at like the bottom of the hat. And then this is like the nose and the chin. Like I was seeing this figure, my eyes were seeing this figure as if it was like looking straight at the camera. And it's not. One day I looked at the image and was like, holy cow, it's not a demon child. That little child is just looking down. She's looking down. She's got her head down and is like playing with the flower petals. So she's like this. But my brain for literally years was seeing her eyes here and one of her eyes is her nose. So like I was seeing this totally warped, messed up, like scary demon face. But it's not. Okay, keep in mind I've never seen it stitched in real life. Now that I see that she's just this sweet little girl looking down playing with a flower, she's like this. Like, oh, it's the sweetest design ever and I need to stitch this sooner rather than later. I'm a total weirdo. I really was like, how did Nora not know she designed a demon child? Well, maybe because she didn't design a demon child, my brain just wasn't seeing the beautiful child looking down. I was like seeing some weird, I don't know, it's very strange. Okay, moving on. Here's Moonlight Lullaby. It's LS6. This is a whip. This is one that, and I'll try to point out the whips that I have as we go. Although some of my like Mirabilia whips are Nora Corbett whips. So we won't get up to 62 just in the Mirabilia, or 63 just in the Mirabilia charts. But this is a whip. This is the one that I'm going to take out the quote down here and add my daughter's like birth details that my mother-in-law wants. I need to work on that. I haven't worked on that in a little while. Ring Around the Rose Tree. I started a couple years ago. I have this as a whip. I think it's adorable. I didn't become attracted to the juvenile chart, like the charts that have kids in them, until I had kids. And even then it took like years before I really was like, yeah, I want to collect those. This is MD76, Ring Around the Rose Tree. Really like it. Seaside Kingdom. The picture's coming off. But Seaside Kingdom is on my to-do list, especially because my kids love, we have very little beach experience. We live in Western Pennsylvania. But there is a beach near our cabin in West Virginia, a very small, like, lakeside, like, tiny lakeside beach that they've been to. They love playing in the sand and going swimming. So I want to do this. I'm just not sure exactly when I'm actually going to get to it. Fairy Tales. I love this one. This is MD20. Came out in 1996. It's an angel reading to another angel. I need readers now, and I'm not wearing them. It's an angel reading to another angel, it looks like. Anyway, I think it's beautiful. I love the style of it. I'm not sure that I'll ever get to stitch it, get around to stitching it. Touching the Autumn Sky, I have as a whip. I know this is a really popular one. Did this one ever get re-released? I don't think it has been yet. But it's beautiful. My daughter loves swinging. So I have this as a whip, but I think I only have like a little bit done up here. I need to, there's just too many of them that I like need to pull back out and get done. Mother's Arms MD11. I love this one. I have it kitted up. I haven't put a stitch in yet, but I really love it. This is apparently my still kind of juvenile, but like motherhood category. Mother's Bliss I have as a whip. This one I love, and it's very important to me. I'm planning on doing the, this is purple just because it's more a color that we love in this house. I also am strongly considering, although I'm not sure where, up here, down here, I kind of want to do it as like a birth record for all of our kids. Kind of want to include each of our kids' names and their birth date on it somewhere. I'm very indecisive about it. It should be a relatively quick stitch. This is not stitched. I've only done like a little bit, I think, in here so far, but this isn't stitched. I ended up deciding I'm just going to stitch it, and then I'll play around and make a decision about whether to do it as like a birth sampler for all three of our kids, and if so, where I want to put them in with what script and whatnot. My throat's getting dry. Yeah, this is gonna be a long video. Okay. Under the Friendship Tree, MD32 is just adorable. It just, I don't know, it gives me good thoughts about childhood. And you know what? Some of us don't have a lot of good thoughts from our own childhood. So it's pretty cool to look at art that evokes like those warm feelings. I mean, I definitely think about my daughter, as well as my sons, looking at this, just the, I don't know, innocence of their play with each other. That's beautiful. I'd like to do that one. Silver Moon Tea I have kitted up. I'd love to do it for our kitchen. That's long-term goal. Golden Girl Apples. Oh, sorry. The Silver Moon Tea is MD119. I don't know if I've said this for all of them. I'm doing my best. If I missed one and you want to know what it is, ask me. I mean, you can Google it too. But if you guys can in the comments or DM me on Instagram, I'll look for you. Golden Girl Apples is MD118. I guess I have kind of mixed feelings about this. Like, I want to love this chart. I love apples. I'm not sure how I feel about the like pinup girl selling the apples. Oh, something about it just, it strikes me a little bit of like an odd choice. I'm not sure. And please, by all means, tell me, some of you, when I'm like, if any of you have seen the Demon Child in Baby Boat or whatever it is, please tell me so I know I'm not alone. And if any of you have had that same like, why is there a pinup girl on the apple poster? Please tell me so I know I'm not alone, because I don't know other stitchers like in like person and like non-internet life, and I don't know if it's just me. People see these things too. Okay, Maidens of the Seasons 1 and 2, MD 70 and 74. This is a whip. It's a whip I've barely started on, but it's one of my favorite Mirabilias of all time. I'm stitching all 4 of them together. I think I've shown it before. I mean, it's a pathetic whip. Like, I've barely done any of it. I love this. Love, 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 love Maidens of the Seasons. And I have the, so for those of you who don't know, this calls for needle paints, floss. Nora Corbett's mom, who is, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I know this pretty well. Nora Corbett's mom, who is Marilyn Levitt Emblem, who ran Lavender and Lace, Told in the Garden, and Butternut Road. She, from what I understand, was frustrated at not being able to get some of the blues and purple shades that she wanted out of DMC floss. So she had some floss dyed like to her specifications, and they're used, I think, at least primarily here in the winter season. And they're used in several lavender and lace designs, but they're called needle paints, and they've been out of production for a long time. Marilyn Levitt Emblem died in 2012. If memory serves, I'm pretty sure I'm correct about that. She actually died on my son's birthday. My son, this is so not important, and I'm going to tell you anyway. So my son, well, he was born on, forgetting my son's birthday, August 14th of 2012. And so, you know, I did the whole, like, giving birth thing. And worked on feeding, like, whole thing in the hospital. He was born around, like, 1:45 in the afternoon. And then, so the day kind of goes by, and towards the end of the day, I pick up my phone, or even the next day, I pick up my phone. This was 2012. I wasn't as connected on my phone as I am now. To see what was going on, and learn that Marilyn Levitt Emblem had died on the day my son was born, and was like, no. Anyway, that's why I know when she died. Needle Paints floss may have even gone out of production before then. I'm not sure. And as far as I know, nobody has picked it back up. Now, I have wondered, and I haven't actually gone to look, because I do have the Needle Paints flosses, but I wondered if some of the new purples in the DMC range, the like 1 through 35, I've wondered if some of those would be a good substitute. I don't know. I think it would be great if some dyer out there, I'm talking to you, Color and Cotton, or anyone else. It doesn't have to be Color and Cotton. I guess I'm feeling like Color and Cotton would do it really well. It would be great if a dyer out there would come up with replacements for those, like come up with a conversion for those needle paints, because they were stunning colors. They're basically impossible to find now. You have to hope to pick some up in like a Stitcher's D-stash or something. You know, I picked mine up like literally over a decade ago. And I'm saving them for the charts that I like need them for. Yeah, needle paints. Okay, moving on. Another group. Oh, so we're getting now into, so that was Maidens. How did I stitch these? Oh, so after the children, I did the two, these are my categories. I put these two in like a category together, because these are like food item advertising poster things. Here's my Maidens, which are kind of like, oh no, this is seasonal. I have a seasonal category, I think. I think that's what's going on here. Yeah, totally is. Okay. So this is the In My Garden series. This is Winter in My Garden, MD68. I have stitched this. I don't think you guys have ever seen it, or probably ever will. It's in my mother-in-law's house. I gave this to my mother-in-law. I stitched it the first summer of the pandemic. Okay, so here's what happened. I started this. You guys just want to hear me talk about Mirabilia for hours, right? I started this prior to 2010. This doesn't even have a date on it. I don't even know when it came out. Anyway, I started this ages ago, and I really want to stitch this whole series for myself. But this was like when I was still learning. So I bought this, and I bought enough fabric to do all four on, but it was like a hand-dyed. And it didn't occur to me till after, well, shoot, I'm going to want to wash these. Let's see if, and I hadn't done a ton on it. And we decided, well, let's go ahead and wash it now, so we'll know if I'll be able to wash this later, like before I put more work on. And all of the dye came out. I don't know what this particular, I don't even remember the company, so I don't want to guess because I don't want to say it wrong. But, I mean, all the dye, just totally out. I didn't want to stitch all 4 of them on a hand-dyed fabric that then I couldn't wash. And obviously, because I've talked about before, there's plenty of hand-dyed fabrics that I can stitch them on. And in this case, I think I love the way they look on the natural linen. I often pick a hand-dyed fabric, but not always. And there's certainly times where I really like the look of her designs on a natural linen. Anyway, so I decided, well, I'm going to have to start over, which I haven't done yet. I decided I was going to have to start over on a fabric that, and I think, end up deciding to just use natural linen, and I got enough for all 4 designs, and I didn't start this one over because I wasn't ready yet, but I started Autumn in My Garden, which I'd forgotten I'd done. I just found it like a year or so ago. I think I posted Instagram. I was like, how did I forget I started this design? Anyway, but I decided I'll stitch this one twice. I had already put enough work in on it that in my very foolish mind, I was like, it won't take that long to finish. It took 3 months of relatively focused and solitary stitching. But my mother-in-law is a great gardener, and she at least seems to really love it. She's also a stitcher. If you watch some of my other videos, you may have seen me show some of her stitching. She hasn't stitched in years since her eyes started to go, but she really, this seemed to really fit her well. So I finally picked this up, like I said, in 2020 and finished it. So Autumn in My Garden, I have as a whip. I think I've just done like part of her, like her jacket. I'm a huge lover of fall and autumn, so this is right up my alley. It's just stunning. I love it. The blues and greens with the purple and I love it. I love her hair in this one. This is MD91. Summer in My Garden. This whole series is just amazing. Now, when I stitched Winter in My Garden, I did not include the season, but I think I probably will when I stitch them for myself. This is MD50. And then Spring in My Garden is MD53. Also very pretty, I think. I love her hair in those designs. Okay, Winter Love. Let's talk about Winter Love. When Winter Love came out, because I love fairies, I was like, yay, a fairy. I don't know if I like her. That was kind of my reaction. I don't think I've ever seen anybody stitch Winter Love. I have this all kitted up. I'm convinced that, like most Mirabilias, it probably looks like 1,000 times better stitched up. So I'm gonna stitch it. I don't know when I'm gonna stitch it. Hopefully, you know, soonish. The colors are stunning. The materials, you know, that I kitted up for it are beautiful. And I have faith that this is gonna look way better, that I'm gonna love it way more stitched than I do in this photo, which is, you know, typically what happens, I think, for all of us. This is MD163. If one of you has stitched this and you have some good pictures of it, please tell me. Tell me in the comments below, like, what your Instagram page is or whatever, or your Flosstube, where I can go find a good image of this, because I don't want to be disappointed. Okay, Queens. Here's Winter Queen, which I have kitted up. I love the queens, but they're a big ask, right? Like, those are 5, 6, 7, depending on how many you count in there. Those are really big designs, and I love them, but I love Maidens of the Seasons more. So I would like Maidens of the Seasons to be the seasonal pieces, and I love the In My Garden series more too. I would rather finish those before I finish the queens. That doesn't mean I necessarily won't work on the queens at all until the others are done, but definitely the queens wouldn't be my focus until I have Maidens of the Seasons and the In My Garden series done. Sorry, this one's MD1395. I think all of the queens are out of print now. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I think they are. Autumn Queen, which I just about passed out when I saw. This was, at the time, this is MD45. I mean, I just, like, this would be the first one I would finish, I think. It's just so stunning. I love this. Hate the fabric it's on, but love the design. I don't think I would stitch them all in the same fabric. And this might be an exception. I would do one of two things. I would either rotate these out seasonally in one location, like I think Stitch and Mommy does, or I've seen a picture somewhere years ago of somebody who had all 4 of them, like going up their stairwell. I've got a good stairwell at our cabin that I could do that with. Of course, it requires having all of them done. Summer Queen. This is MD22. I have this one kitted up. I think she's beautiful. Something about her I really love. Really, really like her. Of course, those blues and greens that Nora uses. I always love. This one's beautiful too. She just reminds me like she's riding a parade float. Like she's just won that sash. Like she's just won some sort of very lovely old-fashioned competition. She's beautiful. She's MD34. I would love to see them being whistled. Now, I don't know who makes the decisions about like reprinting a design. I think I've read or heard, take this with a grain of salt, that really what they do is they decide how many of a design to print. It's not like they're continually printing them. They print a certain number. And once they're gone, they're gone. Except, you know, in recent years, a lot of you might know they've been taking some of the older designs and reprinting them. I think for like very limited runs, like not like the huge initial run, but like a smaller run. But I don't know what the business arrangement is between Mirabilia and Wishold, right? Like Wishold's the distributor. But I don't know who decides which designs come out when, or if and when to do a reprint. I don't know how Wishold decides what to or if Wishold's making the decision. I don't know how they decide what to reprint and how much of it and yada yada. I don't know how that works. But I'd love to know. You know what we need? We need Nora Corbett to do a Flosstube. And or Wishold. That would be awesome. I don't know about all of you out there. I love learning about how this stuff works. I love knowing how the decisions are made. I love that stuff. So I would be thrilled if people would give us more information, like Nora Corbett. And for those of you who do not follow, if you're actually sitting here listening to me ramble on about Mirabilia for what could be hours, I hope you follow Nora Corbett on Instagram. And she was just in someplace tropical. I don't remember what it was. And she showed like 3 mermaid designs. Well, mermaid paintings that were beautiful on her Instagram. And I want to say at least one of them was a mermaid of color, which made me really happy. I know there's been a lot of like chit chat about how, like, as a group, Mirabilias are some of the like whitest white figures out there in cross stitch. I think it would be great if we started getting or you know, she's had a little bit, so let's say continue to get some more diversity amongst her designs. Anyway, I'm hoping those become designs. So here's Queen of Peace. Queen of Peace, I love. I might stitch Queen of Peace before I actually stitch any of the seasonal queens, and I feel like I never see anyone with this one. It's MD58. I really, really love this one. I feel like I need this one on my wall sooner rather than later, but this is one I'd have to get a photocopy of. I might keep this one out to get a photocopy. There's a lot of treasures called for in beads. I think I'm going to set this one aside. I might do that as I'm doing this. I might set some aside that I'd like to work on kitting up. Yeah, I'm going to set her aside. Sorry if you can hear my phone and stuff dinging. Royal Holiday, I have this as a whip. I started this as a whip to give to my mother. And I think I've officially decided that's a bad idea. I have a problem. I feel somewhat driven to do nice things for people. And I have a hard time coming to terms with the fact that maybe some people, maybe I should not be devoting 150 to 200 hours of my time to doing something nice for some people. I'm not alone in that, right? This one's been put away for a while. I actually got, this was one of the first Mirabilias that I started, like, with the head. So I think I have a lot of the head done. I might have to dig it out and see. And then started thinking, this is really a bad idea. My intention was always to stitch it for both of us, to stitch one for my mom and one for me. And I'm just thinking maybe we're just going to stitch one for me. But because it was intended for my mother, there's some of those like, baggage. Lots of baggage there. Okay, now I have all of the, I think she's done them all now, the monthly Birthstone Fairies. So here's December's Blue Topaz Fairy, which I have kitted up to do actually on like a dark purple. I really like her. She's MD 162. I was, for a while there, I feel like we went through a period where she wasn't releasing a lot of, like she had done some of them and then we weren't seeing any more. And I was like, God, I hope she's going to finish them. November Topaz Fairy. I have her kitted up and ready to start. She's MD 96. This one struck me as odd when it came out, but it's definitely grown on me over time. October Opal Fairy, I love, and my daughter loves. I haven't actually put any stitches in yet. Oh, but she's beautiful. I'm not a huge pink person, but the way the pink is done with the aqua and like periwinkle blue, I'm a fan. And she's got a ton of Mill Hill beads. And this is one of the only designs, if not the only one, where she actually calls for the Petite Silk Lame braid, the Rainbow Gallery product, instead of just Krynic. There is a Krynic included as well. But the colors in this are just luscious. I absolutely love it. It's MD 132. October Opal Fairy. September Sapphire Fairy, I have kitted up, haven't started. She's MD 114. I really like her. I think she's very pretty. August Peridot Fairy, I really need to get going on. I have this kitted up. I can't remember if I put any stitches in it. If I did, it was like one day. Everyone in my family but me is born in August. Every one of them. So we need it, right? I've done April's Blue Diamond, which is my birth month. I did May's Emerald Fairy just because I wanted to, and I plan on doing a bunch of the others just because I want to, because they're pretty. But I love this fairy. I love the bold colors of it. And then with everybody being born in August, I need to do it. MD 122. Don't know when I'm going to get to it. July's Amethyst Fairy, I have kitted up. I love these fairies. I love her Birthstone Fairies. They're just like, to me, like classic Mirabilia, like what I love best. Love them. This is MD 59. And Pam at Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. Finish this and go look at it if you're interested or you want to see it. Or especially if you're looking at this picture and you're like, go look at Pam's, because they just always look a million times better in real life. June's Pearl Fairy, I have as a whip. I actually have her as a whip on like red fabric, like deep red. Experiment, see how it looks. I think she's gonna look awesome. This is MD52. Oh, she's so pretty. May's Emerald Fairy, I did. And so this was one of the first Mirabilias I finished. And so I worked from the original chart, which now looks like crud. I don't write on them, but just like folding and unfolding so many times, you know, you lose like the fold lines, you stop being able to see, and they get soft and kind of tatty. So I, in more recent years, went back and bought a nice copy of it for like my collection. Look at how many are still left on the shelf. That's crazy. Okay, so yeah, May's Emerald Fairy, MD56, and if you've looked at my videos of finishes, you'd have seen this, because she was one of my finishes hanging on the wall right over there. April's Blue Diamond, you also would have seen a finish of this if you go back several videos. It's my birth month. I love how she turned out. My favorite part about this, she hangs right next to my side of the bed. She's so pretty. She's wearing a dress that has like a transparent overlay that just has beads on it. And it's done so well in this. And I stitched her on, like, I think it was Water Lily linen from Wishelt. It's like a light green, so you can really see that there's like the like slip underneath, and then there's like an overlay with beads and stuff. It's just, it's stunning. I love how she did that. I'm not sure if those butterfly charms are all still available. I know some are, or I believe some are. Okay, March Aquamarine Fairy. I have kitted up, but not started. And so when I say kitted up, that can mean a number of things. It means I have a chart, like either I bought a second copy or I have a photocopy. I have a chart in a bag somewhere with some of the materials. It might be just DMC, but in most cases, the DMC might not be there, but I've bought the specialty materials, or at least some of them, and put them together so that I don't accidentally use those specialty materials like the Krynex and the beads for something else. So this is MD 159. I also have her on a purple fabric. And is it Belinda, the Aussie stitcher, perhaps? I believe is also stitching this on a purple fabric. I hope I have that right. And when I saw that she was also doing it on purple, I felt much better about my choice. I think she's gonna look amazing on that. Okay. Ooh, another group of them. Now where's February? I don't have February. I can't picture it either. Has she not done February? I think she has. Why don't I have February? Alright, well maybe I'll find it in the stack somewhere else. And if I don't, I'm going to have to investigate that. Can't think of what it looks like. Has she not done February? If I don't come across it during this, please let me know. Tell me what's up with February. Have I just gone past it? Is it going to show up in the rest of the pile? Has she not done February yet and I didn't realize it? What's up with February? Here's January's Garnet Fairy. Also, I'm convinced this one I'm going to love when it's stitched up, even though the picture doesn't quite do it for me. So I have this one kitted up. I love kitting things up. I love the process of doing a floss toss, of picking a fabric. Oh, love picking fabrics to go with designs. Kitting up, either kitting up and beading at the end are my favorites. So I kit up. I enjoy kitting up and putting fabrics with things. All right, Royal Games 1 and 2. I sort of have kitted up. So Royal Games 2 is MD 154. Royal Games 1 is MD 150. What I'm going to do, because I kind of, we're hoping in the future to have like a game room in our basement. But I don't know that I want to stitch both of these. I'm a really teal person. I'm not so much a red person. What I have kitted up to do is to stitch the teal on top of the teal. the spades and the clubs together. The border between the two figures on each chart is almost identical. There's only like 1 or 2 stitches off or something. It's enough that I feel confident that I can adjust it. So I'm going to stitch the spades and the clubs together because I like to, they're my 2 favorite anyway, like even just the designs. Although I do really like the Queen of Hearts. But the Queen of Diamonds is probably my least favorite. Not that I don't like her, just not, you know, if I ranked them, she'd be last. So my intention, I kitted up half of each. I kitted up to stitch the spades with the clubs. And I haven't started it yet, but that's my intention, is to stitch those 2 together. And then if I decide I really like it and I want to stitch the other 2, I can put the diamonds and the hearts together. Yeah, that's my plan. All right, Fairy Roses. This was published as Nora Corbett #1. This is a big design. It's quite large. It's 211 by 282 is the stitch count. I actually have this started twice. So I initially was like, you know, I want to stitch her, but I kind of don't want her wings to have that much going on. I would rather the wings be in like one color palette, kind of all the way through, instead of like 3 separate color palettes. So I started her kind of converted. I used colors that were already in the design for the wings. I just like extended it. I think got rid of like the yellow, and I felt like that might make the yellow flowers on the dress stand out more. I didn't get very far, but then I decided, you know what, I kind of want to stitch it like this too. So I have this started twice. One is the original, and one is kind of a conversion. Who knows if they'll get done, but it's fun to do. I've said before, my focus, and it's work to keep this my focus, but I really try to make my focus enjoying every stitch. Not whether something's going to get done, not when it's going to get done. I mean, I can't keep that out of my head entirely, but I just keep reminding myself, well, are you enjoying stitching this right now in this moment today? And if the answer is yes, then I let everything go and I just enjoy what I'm doing. This is my fairy section. So we had the monthly fairies, or the Birthstone Fairies. I probably need to put my like royal games with the queens. Let's do that while I have them out. Well, no, because they're not seasonal. They're not seasonal. All right, I'm gonna hold the royal games out because I know I have like just random ladies coming up. They probably need to go with the ladies. But right now we're doing fairies. So Fairy Moon, as I have as a whip. This is MD. It says MDL too. She's one of the earliest. There's lots of blends in these wings, which used to bother me. Now that I've been working on Teresa Wentzler's consistently, I couldn't care less that there's blends. So I do pick her up and work on her periodically. She's one of my all-time favorites, and I'd like to have her done sooner rather than later. Cottage Garden Fairy, I have kitted up. She's MD63. She's beautiful. I think when she first came out, or when I first saw her, I thought maybe there's a little too much going on, a few too many different colors, but she's definitely grown on me, and again, she just, to me, strikes me as like classic Mirabilia. I love her. Spring Topiary Garden, we get 2 fairies. This is MD110. I like her a lot, or like that design a lot, but it's not at the top of my list, so I don't know if I'm going to get to it. Titania, this is MD38. And this is, I have 2 copies, because this is, I've been stitching from the kit, which came with its own chart, and then this is like the actual chart, like it's normally sold. And I'm stitching her on black. If you've been watching my videos, you've seen my whip of that. Did I say it's MD38? It's Titania. A Midsummer Night's Fairy. I finished this beginning of last year. Again, if you watch my other videos, you've seen my finish of this. This is the first one I had framed by Jill Rensel. at Rental Studio in Utah. This is MD 30. Midsummer Night's Fairy. I love it. These are kind of like, this is quintessential Mirabilia to me. It's kind of perfect. 3 for tea. 3 for tea I have kitted up 2 ways. I don't know which one I'll do first. I haven't stitched either one yet. One I've kitted up like this, but then I also thought it would be nice to do like the 3 fairies from Sleeping Beauty, which is one of my favorite fairy tales. Do like 1 blue, 1 pink, and 1 green. I was going to do pink in the middle and blue and green on either side. I don't know. But I have it kitted up both ways, and I had fun planning it out. We'll see if it happens. Butterfly Fairy is one of my all-time favorites. I have this as a whip, and it's on my immediate radar, and I hope it will be finished before too terribly long here in the coming years. Something about her, she just looks so regal. She's got kind of that queen pose, but still just full of nature at the same time. I really like her. I can't really tell what she's sitting on, though. I'd love to know what that is. My photo came out. I mean, it looks like a rock, right? I think I saw somebody be like, is that a clove of garlic? Like, what is that? I think she's sitting on. I'm not exactly sure. This is one of those baby boat situations where, like, my brain isn't seeing what it's supposed to. Muka, I talked about recently. This is one of my all-time favorites. Still haven't started it. It is kitted up. It's MD 156. I think I go in like phases of like, sometimes I'm in a starting everything mode, sometimes I'm in a like, back off, I just want to focus on a couple of things kind of mode, and I think I'm moving into a let's focus on just a couple of things mode right now. When she came out, she reminded me of Fairy Idol. Really, really love her. I love the crazy hair. I'm just going to focus on it. Her wings, the coloring, just the way everything's, the leaves and stuff hanging down, the candles hanging up here. I just love it. It's brilliant as far as I'm concerned. Fairy Flora, also a favorite, also a whip. Also has come out a little bit lately because Lisa at Cross by Floss is stitching her, and every time I see it, it makes me want to bring her out. I think she's just absolutely stunning. I love her red hair. I don't know if you can even like tell on camera. I have a hard time even figuring out my own hair color, except gray these days. I have like auburn hair. I have red hair. I don't know if you can see it. When I'm outside in the sun, it's like it's caught on fire. It just like glows. So I have an affinity for redheads. Really like her. Enchanted Dreamer, I have completed. This I did for my daughter. It's MD 43, so it's one of the earlier designs. She was not my favorite, but something like, she just made me think of my daughter. Like peaceful and asleep. My daughter's blonde. Head on the pillow. Something about that. Just really love. Adia the Garden Fairy, I've done this, but I did it without the wings, and I actually have restarted it to do with the wings. Don't know when that'll be done. This is MD 41. I love her. She just reminds me of a dancer, and I didn't do a lot of dance as a kid, but I was a cheerleader, like on a competitive cheerleading squad, and I did gymnastics, and just that like gracefulness, like I feel like her pose with those arms just embodies that gracefulness of a dancer, and I just love it. And it's full of beads, so my daughter especially loves it. Petal Fairy, okay. Petal Fairy and Bliss Fairy. Petal Fairy is MD 82. Bliss Fairy is MD 89. I love them. I have them kitted up. Must do them. But I haven't started yet because Lord knows when I'll get to them. There's just so many other things. Oh, also, in case any of you have this and are doing it, there's an error, at least in some of the charts. When you're stitching her hair or her headband, there's an error in the chart. And the errors are listed, I believe, on the Mirabilia website. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I got cut off. I think I'm having issues. Oh, my dog's gonna get up again. Issues with storage. What I think I'm gonna do is finish talking about these two. and then probably take a break and probably upload this as like part 1. I don't know that I'm going to film anymore today either. So when you next see me, I will be wearing other clothing. And it might be like a week or 2 even before I get part 2 filmed. This is a big video. And I'm going to need to get lunch, get my kids, and like I got some other stuff to do today. But I will do part 2 because this is actually really fun. It's like fun to go through. I do this on my own somewhat regularly. May as well film it and talk to y'all out there. Anyway, so Bliss Fairy and Petal Fairy. I'm not sure where I got cut off exactly, so apologies if I'm repeating myself. But for me, these kind of go together. I have them both kitted up. Really want to do them. I haven't started them yet. I feel like I do need to finish a few more things before I bring these into the mix. But I love them. The fabrics I have pulled for them, I think at least one of them has like a periwinkle kind of blue fabric. I just think they're stunning. I love the fairies with the flowers. These also kind of like all good feelings, classic Mirabilia to me. Petal Fairy is MD82 and Bliss Fairy is MD89. I was still seeing these at least relatively recently. I'm not sure if they're still readily available or not. So yeah, I'm gonna stop there for now. I've been talking a long time, a really long time. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed all of my rambling about Mirabilias. And we still have all of this. I'm not sure that we're even half done. It's a lot. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying. Basically just gonna pause here. I'm gonna take care of this video, get it up. Let me know what you think of it in the comment section, because if you're all like, this is dumb, I don't want to listen to this, maybe I won't do part 2. I'll probably do part 2 because I think it's fun. Anyway, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully part 1 will get up here maybe by the end of the day. More likely by the end of the day tomorrow, because this is going to be a huge file. And I need to deal with some storage space issues on my phone. And thanks guys. Thanks for sticking in there with me. Happy stitching. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.